guys. Hey, welcome to V&N Mechanics and Home Improvement. On this channel, we're going to be highlighting basically how to fix things around the house
at a low cost, so you don't have to spend hundreds elsewhere.
And with that being said, let's get started. My name is Virjesh.
My name is Neil.
And today we're going to be fixing a car door lock actuator
For a 2017 RAV4.
Yes. So stay
Let's
tuned.
get started.
Alright guys, welcome back. So like we said, we're going to go ahead and start working on this door. Just the first thing we need to do is we're just going to go ahead and pry this bad boy open right here. So the only thing you have to do is you're going to take a plastic pry right here. And we're just going to go in as the door is open. We're just going to pop that sucker out. And it comes off easy just like that. From there, we're going to go ahead and take a Phillips head. And we're going to unscrew this.
Here's the Phillips.
There we go. And so you're just going to leave this open. And you're just going to fit it in, loosen it up. As you've noticed on newer models on cars and everything starts to come more plastic made. So doing a lot of your own assembly is very easy nowadays.
Yep. But you gotta be careful though. With more plastic means it's gonna be more brittle, especially a car this old, right? It's 2017, it's 22 right now. Plastic can get brittle. So
Very. Okay, now for the second part we're gonna go ahead and do is you're gonna find a corner where you can get a nice little easy opening. These are gonna be a little hard and you wanna be a little careful because it is hard plastic, but it's easy to come off, but you still gotta be very careful because if something breaks, it can get very problematic. So just be careful. So as you can see, you know, there's a little friction. There we go. And it comes off just like that. You're gonna go ahead and just take the part. Make sure you have all your equipment just right there ready to go. And then the second part we're gonna use with our pliers, we're gonna come right here onto this door frame. And again, same thing, just find a little hole and just kind of open it up. There we go. And then it's gonna come off hopefully easier. There we go. And just like that, it is off. So now one thing you want to make sure you have So compared to your driver's side on your passenger side, on your driver's side, you're going to have a little hook right here. What you're going to do is you're going to push in right here. And this one should pull off as so. Sometimes you might need a second person. So if Neil, if you can go ahead and help me out, I will go ahead and hold this while you push on that. If you want to take this.
All right, so V and I were talking about if you flip it over, we're gonna take this whole part, this plastic part out here, but for us it's jammed in there and we do not want to break it. So we did a workaround. What we did instead was that there were 3 bolts, one here, one there, and one there. They look like these. We just took them out and it looks like this. This is a perfect time to, you know, clean it up if you want to, but this will be our backup plan, all right?
And from then, we keep continuing unscrewing the rest of the screws over here. Wedging it in there, which is exactly what we need. So then you're gonna see 2 little connectors that go into your lock, as well as your window. So what we're gonna do here is now we're gonna go ahead and disconnect. All right, so now that we got this little bad boy off, we're gonna go ahead and start unscrewing these 4 screws that we have here. If you go ahead and zoom in, you're gonna see one right here. There's one deep in there, and then you're gonna have a 3rd one, and then another 4th one down low. So the only thing we're doing is just unscrewing it, and then from then, we will be able to pry everything open. So like we mentioned with most cars now, they come plastic, right? So literally everything is just gonna rip off.
Okay, so next thing we need to do is gonna pry off this plastic piece right here. You can use your hands, you can use your pry bar, it's really easy. And you can see, if you zoom in over there, it's just these little 2 things right here that are attached to the metal frame.
Let me go right back in.
Yep, so what we're gonna do, what V is doing right now is gonna start from the top, or you can go from the bottom, it's up to you. Be careful, again, this is all plastic, so just use your hands, just feel it out, and then it'll come out. So if you look over here, if you zoom in, you can see he just using his hands, just trying to pull it out. All right, there you go. Another one coming out. And he goes to the top. Sometimes the top might be a little issue, so having a second person might be good. Again, this is very light, so nothing to be worried about. All right, so second person will be great here. Now remember, we had the whole door actuator and stuff like that. Actuator, but the controls. So make sure you don't drop that because you don't want to break anything. And then bam. All right.
Next thing we have to do is just put this bad boy out.
Right. And then what you're gonna notice, so before we take it out, so if you look over here, if you look over there, now this whole, like the whole unlocking mechanism can come right out, pop right out pretty easily. So you just pop it out and then bam. And there you go. And then your door is out and just put it on the side.
All right, guys. So now that we have the door open, a couple things you want to really note down real quick. So the door is hanging loose right here. So what we're going to do is we're going to hang it on this bad boy right here. One thing you want to make sure, so this is a nice little glue that they give at all factory models. This right here is basically our button that we had attached that works the entire mechanism. So the only thing we're gonna do, we're gonna lightly tear open this plastic. It's okay if you tear it, you know, it won't not stick, it'll get back on there, but you just gotta be careful. You know, I would recommend, if you don't want to get your hands really that dirty or anything, go ahead and get some gloves. It'll make the process 10 times easier. Or if you have a friend or so, like as I do, you can make this 10 times easier. So we're only gonna go probably halfway down, and this should be good for us for the most part.
Yeah, this is perfect.
This is a perfect size right here. And one thing you want to make sure, go ahead and unclip this, because this right here is the wiring that connects to your actuator. Now,
there you go.
and just like that, it comes right off.
Be careful, all right? These wires, you don't want to pull them out too hard because you might break them. Last thing you want to do is deal with this.
All right, guys. So now that we have the plastic kind of pried off a little bit, we have it here halfway. What we're gonna do now is we're gonna take a little hex head right here. It's gonna go right here. We have 3 screws that we're gonna undo right here. So we're just gonna get rid of that real quick. And then, if you can see right here, there's a little bolt right here.
Yeah, it's just a 10mm bolt. Just gonna 10mm socket.
So we're just gonna work on these real quick.
Now, there's a couple things we want to point out. All right. So we have this nut right here, this 10mm bolt. There's a reason why we're taking this out. So let's go into this door, and we'll show you. This right here, what I'm pointing at, is the actuator. This right here, this metal thing, a little bar, connects the actuator, and we'll come back to this in a minute. Now, if you look over here, do you guys see this piece of metal that I'm swinging right here? All right, this right here is a support for the actuator. So we need to move this support by taking this out. We remove the support, and then therefore we can work on the actuator itself.
So another thing you also want to keep in mind is, so like Neil pointed out, there is a little metal rod that is attached to the actuator, right? So if we look at the model of our actuator that we have today, this is the actuator, right? So it's gonna go in just like so, like this, right? And it pokes out through the hole. So right here is where the metal rod goes through. We need to poke it out, and the reason why is because that is the manual lock. If you see right here on the door, when you pull on this, the metal rod moves on the inside. So basically it makes the rod go up. That way we can pull it out, like go, and switch the actuator out. Okay. So as you guys can see, now the fact that the actuator is actually loosened up, we can go ahead and just pull this bad boy out. And now this is what you have as your door actuator.
Another important thing you do is whenever you buy a new part, especially an aftermarket part, make sure it all looks the same. So the last thing you want to do is put something in that doesn't fit right. Yeah. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at the parts, put them side by side. Looks about the same size. Looks good to us. And then we'll go from there.
And then on the new part, you want to make sure you take this foam part off and replace it with the old one that was given to you from the factory manufacturer.
And the reason why we do that is because when we put it in initially for the other door, it just didn't want to fit right. So we just took it out and put the OEM one on there. So it's pretty cool.
From this, what we need to do now is we're going to go ahead and take these 2 pieces off, as you see right here. Very easy to do. And then we're going to replace it with the new one. So like we said, this is where we have the door lock and the actuator. Neil's going to help me out in a quick second. What you're going to do here to go ahead and get these 2 bad boys off so we can attach on the next one, you're just going to push down on this really hard. And then what you're going to do is you're going to, hopefully it can pry, there we go. It pries out just like that. Kind of have to do a little wiggling. And boom, you have one part of the actuator out. Just going to go ahead and get rid of that right there. Cool. All set to go. Now for this one can be a little tricky. The only thing you have to do is get a flathead and just kind of pry this bad boy open, and just flips open just like that. So if we can get a flathead real quick, good sir. What we're going to do right here is, while Neil's holding this, I'm going to go ahead and just pry it in. Boom, it comes off just like that. Easy peasy. Hopefully, there we go. It gets a little hard just because it is old. Keep in mind, like Neil said, it is plastic, so it can get a little annoying. So now what we're going to do is just going to lift that, and it comes off like so. You
got to wiggle it out.
Yeah. And it just looks just like that. And we're going to apply it to our new one right here. Okay. So, like we mentioned, we're going to go ahead and just push this. Stick it right in like so. And then we're going to pull and then we're gonna push down on this. There you go. It's now stuck on there.
You just gotta make sure it seats right. So like right there, you see how it's not seated right. So I did that wrong.
Yep.
So let's go ahead, V. You can go ahead and fix it.
All right. So we're gonna push down.
Get some leverage, put on the ground.
Thank you. Gonna put it right here on the ground. Should go like that. There we go. Make sure that's seated right there. Push back. Boom. And it's in just like that. Now for the second one, again, all we need is the flat head. We're just gonna pop this box open like so. There we go. Thank you. Can be a little tricky at times. Don't worry, there we go. So we pop it in, and like I said, just stick it in, just wiggle it through. There we go. Get the desired length that you need. That way this can stick properly. Boom, and there you go, it's in. And just like that, guys, the actuator is in, and we're ready to put it back all together.
So you can see over here, we have it all together. Now, we don't want to put everything back inside because we want to make sure everything works. So what we're going to do is we're going to just quickly hook this up right here.
Like so.
Here, click, and we're going to get the keys and make sure it opens and unlocks and locks.
All right.
So you look over here. Oh,
I'm sorry. Go ahead and lock it.
All right. So this is lock position. If you look over now, unlock.
And it works.
There you go.
Just like that, we have an actuator in place. Now the only thing that's left to do is go ahead and take this out real quick so we can go ahead and apply the actuator. And then we're gonna go ahead and lock all our screws. And then from there, we're done. All right, so as you guys can see, so now that we're putting the actuator in, you notice how we told you about the metal rod that was inside in the car? So what we're gonna do, again, we're gonna go ahead and stick it in. I believe it goes in, there we go, the other way.
There you go.
So it goes in, and as you see, we're gonna make sure we get the metal rod through that hole. And once it's in, we know it's gonna be stabilized. So as I keep this door open, Neil's gonna go ahead and put it in and just try to fidget it through.
All right, so we put the metal bar in. Now, what we're gonna do is we're gonna quickly put these bolts back in real quick, and then make sure this attaches. So always want to just make sure you put the bolts in on the side right here, just to make sure it all fits in correctly and it sits correctly before we tighten everything up, you know?
All right, go ahead and adjust this so we can get the top hole in.
Yep. Always better to get the top one first in, and the other ones will align.
So just go in like so. We're gonna go ahead and get the hex. And again, if you guys are watching with us, let us know what you guys want to see us work on next time. We do have a lot of projects in store, so stay tuned for more.
Have this in, we tighten everything up. We're gonna put this clip back into the actuator.
There we go. Once you hear that click, you're all set to go.
Always double check, make sure it's working out. So unlock the car key. There you
We're
go,
good.
works. All right, we're gonna put back this lovely plastic. Just line it up as best as you can.
There we go. We're gonna hold the actuator with one hand. Or, I'm sorry, not the actuator, the actual door lock.
Yeah, door lock mechanism.
There we go. And I want you guys to keep in mind, if you guys actually took this to your manufacturer, this would cost you somewhere between how many doors you need to get replaced and everything, about, I mean, you're looking at between $750 to $2,000. And this, for just the parts and everything that we're changing today, only cost us a whopping amount of 57 bucks. So you're getting a big bang for your buck. I promise it won't take that long. Once you get the hang of it, it's all set to go. So now that we got this done, we basically just need to put the entire door back together right there. And we're done. Take the door. First part you want to make sure is just stick this bad boy through.
Got it.
There we go.
And this right here.
And he's going to get stuck right here on this backside.
And the thing is, cool thing is, right? See this back part? This will fit on a plastic fitting that just protrudes out. So it's pretty easy to do. So you just stick it in there. And then it's going to clip. Good to go. There you go.
All right, it's in. We're gonna go ahead and line this up like so. Just gonna let that hang right there. Just make sure everything's kind of lined up. And you're just gonna start kind of pushing. Oh, there we go. There we go.
Just sit in there.
It's just a little plastic screw. Just kind of Make sure you get all the angles, make sure you get all the clicks that you need to. And boom, would you look at that? It's like you have a new door all over again. All right, so we're just gonna put everything back on. Like we said, so we unscrewed these, and now what we're gonna do is go ahead and screw these bad boys back. Boom, that's in. And basically, just gonna twist this bad boy in, and just, boom. Just like that, we got a new door panel. Easy peasy. Locks, unlocks. Beautiful. Stick this bad boy back on. Like you see, these are just little plastic screws. They stay in spot. Just gonna, once you hear that click, you're in. Go ahead and go with these screws, screw everything back in.